Hello, everybody. This is Brody coming to you from the garage, and this is episode one of Brody's Garage. I was going to start this when the car arrived, but the car was supposed to arrive today, and it didn't. And so I decided, you know what, the hell with it. I'm going to start the show anyway, and show you maybe the scene, the calm before the storm. So I'm standing in the empty garage right now. There was supposed to be a 67 Nova sitting there right now, but there are delays, which apparently is the new normal nowadays. There are just delays throughout the entire country, the supply chain, you've all heard about it, and I'm experiencing it. I guess I picked the wrong time to build a 67 Nova, but nonetheless, things are moving forward. Knock on wood, the car shows up tomorrow, and everything works itself out. I'll give you a quick overview about myself and what I'm planning to do. My name is Brody Dolinick. For the past 25 years or so, I've been a professional musician. Prior to that, I was a car guy from the time that I got my first car at age 16 up until I became a musician. I was a car guy, painter, builder, drag racer, street weekend warrior, blah, blah, blah. And I've owned 3 Chevy 2 Novas in the past. I had a 67 two-door hardtop, and I've had 2 66 wagons. And they've always been sort of my favorite muscle car. And so after a long hiatus, I've decided I'm going to get back into the game and do this one right. In the past, I was in my 20s and never really had the money to do squat, and so everything was done on a shoestring budget, and every nut and bolt was wire wheeled and cleaned, and everything was rebuilt and repainted, and this is the first opportunity I've had to do things kind of with new parts. And so when I began my search for the car, first thing I realized was how outrageously these things have increased in value and how hard they are to come by. And so without spending at least $20,000, you're really not going to find anything in decent shape. And even then, you're finding kind of a car that probably needs about a third or more of the sheet metal replaced. And so in my search, I stumbled upon a place called Real Deal Steel out of Florida. And what they do is they take basically all of the reproduction parts that are now available, which there are quite a few of, and they are assembling kind of on a factory assembly line, an entire body. So I stumbled upon this website, and I'm like, you can buy a 66 or a 67 Nova, pretty much a complete car. And so as I weighed out my options between taking something used and basically cutting it all apart, replacing, who knows how much of the sheet metal, and knowing what I would want to do with the car anyway, my goals were not really to keep it factory stock anyway. So I decided to go with the Real Deal Steel body. Now, the first thing I've noticed is it takes a while for things to happen like this. They told me initially 4 to 5 months would be the time between the time that they received the deposit on the car to the time that they would ship the car out. As it turned out, a little bit of luck in my favor, they were able to get mine bumped up a little bit sooner because the Camaros that were ahead of my assembly line were back ordered with some parts. So they decided to jump on my car and get it knocked out sooner. So I ordered the car, I think it was July 7th. It is now October 21. And so we're just under 4 months. And the car was supposed to be here today. One of the first things I've had to painfully learn is that independent contractor trucking companies, or auto transport companies as it were, at least my experience is they don't give a rat's ass about getting things to you on time, and they also don't really care about communicating with you. I'm dealing with sort of a broker who then hired a independent driver to bring the car out. Unbeknownst to me, he made a couple other stops in Colorado, and he was supposed to be here today, and now it looks like he's going to be here tomorrow, and they won't tell me, is he going to be here in the morning or the afternoon? And I've got a flight scheduled. I've got to go fly out and do a show in Long Beach. So The first major lesson I'm learning in going back into the building of a car is patience, which I don't have a whole lot of. And I'm finding out that I better get some really quick, otherwise this thing is just not going to go too well. So with all the shipping delays, the transport delays, that's been the hardest first step of this. That being said, I am making some progress. I got a lot of stuff ordered. I've got a whole entire shelf full of car parts here, mostly engine stuff, some accessories, some interior parts, so weather stripping, some trim pieces over here. I've got my rear, oh, I'm sorry, where'd it go? I've got my rear windshield in that box right there. I've got the grill and the dash and the side window glasses down there. And back over here, just today I got my rear tires, which are Mickey Thompson ETSS street drag tires, basically. These are a little bit different than what I initially wanted. I wanted a 315/30 R18, and they were back ordered, and the Toyo Proxies 888s that I ordered, they kept getting pushed further and further back until like January of next year. So I didn't want to wait, and so I started thinking about it again, and I thought, you know what, ultimately I think I'm going to be traction limited with those tires. So I went with a slightly smaller size 305/35/18. These are a little bit taller diameter and just a hair narrower, but the compound on these is super sticky. I think ultimately I made the right choice in going with these. We'll find out. They're going to be mounted on a 10.5-inch wide Weld Racing S77. And up there on the rack, which by the way, I just redid this garage. I tore out all the old shelving and I put up heavy duty shelving all around the perimeter. And up there, I've got a set of Toyo, radial, steel-belted radial front tires. Over here, I've got a pair of Precision turbos in that box. I've got wastegates. I've got Ring Brothers billet hood hinges. I've got Dakota Digital gauges. Weather stripping, which I ended up going through a couple different companies, Ground Up, which is called ss396.com, and Classic Industries. I've got Vintage Air components coming in. I got the condenser, the evaporator, vent louvers, the control panel, steering wheel. I've got engine parts. Let's talk about the engine. I decided to go with an all-aluminum LS3 block from Chevrolet Performance. I went with a forged rotating assembly and ARP studs. I've got Eagle crank and rods. I've got diamond forged pistons. They're flat tops. The car will have about a 10-to-1 compression ratio, so it'll live on pump gas for most of its life, but then I'm setting it up with a dual-purpose flex fuel option so I can run ethanol-based E85, and I can crank up the boost when I want to. The fuel management will be Holley Terminator X Max. I've got a 4L80E transmission being built by Jake's Performance, which they are backed up for 16 weeks, they said. So that might be the last thing that I receive, who knows. It's a Summit roller cam, hydraulic roller cam. They're stage 3 turbo cam. The turbos are mirror image, so the plumbing will be symmetrical left to right. For an OCD guy like myself, I had to have it that way. Flowtech headers, which are an up and forward header, but I'm going to try to flip them upside down and put them down and forward. We'll see if that fits in the car. I've got a TIC Performance air-to-water intercooler, which sandwiches between the Holley plenum. It's a Holley low ram intake that's coming. They are currently back ordered as well. What else? I'm going with a RideTech billet gas filler neck and cap. Yada, yada, yada. What else do we have here? A lot of small parts, oil pump, the engine block and the rotating assembly is down at the machine shop being examined, and they're going to balance it. They're going to torque plate it and see if it needs to be honed. Check out the line boring and see if that needs to be cleaned up as well. Hopefully I'll get the engine back within a couple weeks, and I'll start assembling that here on the stand. The car, if it gets here tomorrow, will go on a rotisserie, which is also supposed to arrive tomorrow. I ended up going with Redline Stands rotisserie. thanks to a video that I saw online from Ian from Redline Stands, and I watched the build of his 67 Nova as well. So thank you, Ian, for your valuable information. And I'm looking forward to getting the car here in the garage and on the rotisserie here within the next couple days. That's it for episode 1, is just sort of the overview. The car will have a TMI products interior. My good friend Al Nakata has agreed to help me with the bodywork and paint, and I'm going back and forth between a couple of colors, BMW's Black Sapphire Metallic Pearl, and Mazda has a really, really, really vibrant red. I think they call it Soul Red Crystal. And it just caught my attention the other day, and it's really like throwing a wrench into this. I was going to go totally with the black metallic, and now I can't decide if I'm going to go red or black. And who knows, I may change my mind several times. I just got these in the mail today from Amazon. They're little wheel dollies, and the car is coming to me basically body only on a pallet, a skid, in an enclosed trailer. So we have to figure out tomorrow how to get the car out of the trailer, maybe onto these skids. I've also rented a pallet jack from Home Depot, and a couple of buddies and I are going to try to get this thing into the garage and then up onto the rotisserie. So that's the goal. The car will hopefully, I don't know how long this will take. If this is a 3-month job or a 6-month job or a 3-year job, I'm hoping to have it running by spring of next year at the latest. That would be 2022. And taking it to car shows would be the plan. Maybe taking it on a hot rod power tour, taking it out to the strip a couple times and seeing what it'll do. I'm hoping for 850 rear wheel horsepower on E85, so that'd be about close to 1,000 at the crank. So I'm putting this all out there to the universe now. We'll see how close I get to my goals. But for those that know me as a musician, you're going to get to see another side of me, is the gearhead side of me. And for those that are following the progress of the build of the Nova, maybe you can see some of my music stuff, which I'll be, you can check out my channel, and I'll be sharing updates as far as live performances. So there you go. That concludes episode 1, an overview, and I'll see you soon. Take care.